Simon & Schuster Audio presents
Happy Ever After, written by Patricia Scanlan, read by Caroline Lennon. The great question, which I have not been able to answer, is, what does a woman want? Sigmund Freud. Prologue. Debbie. It was hard to believe the honeymoon was over, Debbie Kinsella thought ruefully as she surveyed the shambles that was their bedroom. Brian had half a dozen art gallery catalogues strewn over the floor on his side of the bed. 3 cool T-shirts she'd bought in Gap for her half-sister Melissa lay on top of the chest of drawers. Who would have ever thought she would end up buying a present for the teenager she'd despised for so long? She mused, putting the T-shirts on hangers so they wouldn't crease. Debbie felt an unwelcome pang of conscience, remembering how unfriendly and unkind she'd been to Melissa over the years. She'd been so angry and bitter at her father for leaving that she hadn't been able to bear to see him happy with his new family. When Melissa was born, Debbie had finally given up on the wistful notion that Barry and Connie would reunite. Melissa had been a focus for her anger for a long time. It had been undeserved, and Debbie was ashamed of herself and anxious to make amends. Hopefully her half-sister would like the T-shirts she'd chosen for her, thought Debbie as she placed the hangers on the wardrobe doorknob. The linen basket was overflowing, and their cases were still unpacked, full of clothes that needed to be washed. At this rate, she'd be washing for a week. Once, she would have gathered everything up and brought a bag full of clothes to the laundrette and had them washed and ironed. It would have cost her. Ironing was expensive, but she wouldn't have cared. It was money well spent in her eyes. Now that they were saddled with a mortgage, loan repayments from the credit union for their wedding and honeymoon expenses, and a massive visa bill, cash flow was a big issue. And the little luxuries that she and Brian had taken so much for granted were going to have to fall by the wayside. Debbie had suggested going back to work on a Friday, as it was payday, and it would help them adjust to normal life after all the excitement of the wedding and honeymoon. They'd only be in work one day, they'd have the weekend to recover, and they'd have money in their wallets. It had seemed like a good idea at the time, but now, studying the disarray surrounding her, she wasn't so sure. She let her wet towel fall to the floor and began to dress.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?